Okay.
What was that? Have you been drinking tonight?
No.
I mean, you're dressed as Spider-Man, and you're in a goofy mood. So
I'm happy.
Who is your daddy? I am the father.
You fathers will understand.
My father taught me many things.
I got an idea. How about you all sit there quietly while I make dad noises?
you know what? Let's just get started. It's getting late for you. Let's see if we can get through this before your Betty bye time.
I was getting tired at 9:30.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. And here we are. We're getting close to 11 your time. Well, let's get going then with episode 158, Fathers of the Grind. I'm Tim Nestor. That's Derek Teague, a.k.a. Spider-Man.
Hey.
Yeah, and we're ready to do this thing. Thank you guys for listening yet again. Nothing really major new came out this week. Last week we had this kind of mini wave of games released that we tried to cover as quickly as we could. Mm-hmm. Of course, as time goes on, for some of those that we've played, I'm sure we'll mention them. But this week was a little bit quieter, which is nice. Gave me a chance to just kind of play whatever I felt like playing. I didn't feel pressure to try anything out. I just got to play whatever, which was good. But I did play a little more Anthem, and I won't say too much more about it unless you also have played some and want to chat about it. I stand by what I said last week. It's a lot of fun. I highly recommend it. If you enjoy Destiny, or really if you like BioWare also, no, it's not like playing Mass Effect truly because it's not quite as in-depth. Mm-hmm. I do think it's got a pretty interesting story and some characters that are, again, interesting enough, but that's not what makes it good. It's the gameplay. It's going out and gathering loot, upgrading your Javelin. For those of you who are hardcore and will spend like 20, 25 hours on this in one weekend, you might fly through the content. I don't know. But for someone like me who jumps in this for a couple hours at a time, maybe a few times a week, this game's going to last me a few months, just jumping in every once in a while, running a few missions, leveling up a little bit. So I'm enjoying it for the most part.
Yeah, I mean, I would. The only thing I would add is that I'm like a level 15 on Xbox and like a level 10 or something on PC. I've actually been playing on Xbox more, just because I was going to play with people if I saw them on. But the only thing I would add is I originally, when I started playing this, so I put in about 20 hours between both Xbox and PC.
Okay.
Total. I would.
So does that mean you've tried all the Javelins at this point then?
I've done 3 of the 4. I haven't unlocked Colossus, which I'll do when I get to level 8 on. Wait.
You probably have.
I'm level 8 on PC. I must have just not unlocked them. I must have unlocked something else.
You might have just been running missions and didn't think to unlock it. Who knows?
No, I'm pretty sure I did. I just had no interest in the Colossus. So I had the Interceptor on PC, and I probably unlocked the Ranger, I probably did Storm.
Colossus is cool if you were ever, if any of these games, whether it's a fantasy game, sci-fi, if MMO, if you find yourself gravitating towards a tank character, someone with a shield, someone who can do some crowd control right in the middle and just kind of jump in and slam everything, that's exactly what a Colossus is. You can also get some great guns, of course. You can use guns, but I like to just grab a shotgun. I even keep an autocannon in case they're a little farther away, and I can just get this minigun rolling and then just jump in and smash everything. That being said, I unlocked the Interceptor, and he's super awesome and really fast.
Like Storm and Interceptor are probably my 2
Interceptor's fun because you can, of course, shoot from a distance. You can run and jump and flip around real fast, but then you can jump in and do these really fast, really powerful sword attacks, kind of like a ninja, basically. Now, you can die pretty quick. You know, if they all start unloading on you, you can die pretty quick. That's where having a Colossus on your team comes in handy. They can just pull up their shield, jump into the middle. I've already unlocked a tank-like ability where I try to taunt all enemies nearby to attack me and keep my shield up. So anyway, I'm starting to pick up on little pieces of, hey, this is scratching that old MMO itch where it's you team up with the right combo of people. If you had an Interceptor and a Storm and a Colossus at least, and then maybe the Ranger just for additional firepower, that's great. I mean, you've got a great team there to go in and do some damage. But anyway, I digress. I said I wasn't going to say much about it, but I am enjoying it. Anthem is fun.
Yeah, and so the only thing I was going to say is I enjoy the game. I still stand by what I said earlier. I don't quite understand these reviews, and I'm not going to waste my time bashing the reviewers. I just don't understand why. Like, I don't feel like Destiny even got this much hate. I feel like these reviewers are going into this going, this must be Mass Effect. And I still stand by the fact that for a MMO light style game, it still has a lot of Mass Effect feel to me. Like, I still like the fact that you can be in the middle of a mission and they'll just go right into a cutscene.
Yep. And there's dialogue choices, although they're not as complex as Mass Effect, but they're there.
So, and the story, I don't understand the complaint on the story, because, like, I was watching. First of all, I am gonna bash one of them because I already hate her because she's a feminist. I'm biting my tongue right now, but it's the stupid Callie girl from GameSpot. And so I was watching, like, I clicked on the GameSpot review, which, by the way, I rarely watch reviews now. But I was on there, and I was like, I'll watch it, and then I realized it's 30 minutes long, so I didn't even get but maybe 3 or 4 minutes in, because she's so stupid. I don't know why they let her review games, because she's like, you know, I just don't like the way they build the characters. There's not a lot of building on the characters. Like, for example, you're friends with these characters, and then something happens, and then 2 years later, y'all aren't friends anymore. And I don't know why. And I'm going, did you miss the whole part where they were fighting in the middle of the fight, and they were, like, talking about how they were ridiculous, and you can't do this, and blah, blah. That was what happened. Like, they did it for 5 minutes.
It says it right there at the beginning.
That's what's happening. That's why you're not with them anymore. You moved on. You're like, no, I can't be a part of this crew. They're crazy. And now you need them. So I don't understand, like, how you didn't grasp that. And these are professional reviewers.
I mean, it's the same thing as when they said, you know, in the game Hitman, it encourages you to kill strippers or something like that in a strip club. No, it doesn't. You're actually after someone else who's in a strip club, and you can chase them through the strip club. If you choose to go find a stripper that's probably hiding somewhere once the shooting starts, you can then kill them. Sure, if you're crazy, like if you want to do that kind of thing, sure.
I do.
But it's the same thing when they say they encourage you, even reward you for doing it. I'm like, no, they don't. They don't do either of those things. But whatever. People want to see what they want to see, and I guess with Anthem, it's not that different. The critiques of it are not that different from Crackdown 3 in that I feel like when you see a wave of, hey, the whole industry thinks this, so I should also think this, there's at least some of that going on with some of these reviewers. Some of it is an honest take, and I believe it. Yeah. But I finished Crackdown 3, by the way. Stand by what I said. Fun game. A good 7.5 out of 10 type of game. There's things about it I wish it did differently. We already talked about all that stuff, so I won't go any deeper into it. But it was nowhere near as bad as some people were saying. Like a 5 out of 10, that's really harsh for a game that works well, is fun to play, and gives you an open world to go and play in and do a bunch of stuff. I'm not sure why it would get a 5 out of 10. So anyway, I think the Anthem reviews were a little harsh too. But to be fair, I didn't read all of them. I thought, you know what? I've already tried this game a few times and I've enjoyed it. I'm not even going to bother reading the reviews. I know what I think about it already before it releases. I don't need to see the reviews. And so I haven't really read any of them. I've only seen, like, the Metacritic average, I think, is around 60, 64, something like that.
Yeah, so, it's not good. But I will say this, and I'm getting my own self sidetracked. What I'm trying to say is I went into this game thinking this would be, for me personally, I'm just talking about me personally, like a Destiny killer. Like, I will play this game instead of Destiny whenever I'm in that mood for like an MMO style shooter. I don't know if it's going to be that way.
Yeah.
First of all, I haven't gotten through the story, so I don't know what the end game is. I haven't heard great things about the end game, though.
Right. But see, I'm not believing much of that because I also hear awful things about the game itself. People are like, oh, the shooting is awful and the story is just garbage. And I'm going, shooting's pretty fun. And the story is pretty solid, so why would I believe you about the end game stuff either? So we'll find out.
And the shooting is just like Mass Effect, and it's really reliant on how good your guns are, too.
Yeah.
Plus, again, they want you to use your special abilities. This is still an RPG.
Not only that, but you're supposed to upgrade your components, and it starts to decrease things like the kickback on certain guns and all of that stuff. You know, how fast stuff overheats and all the things that people are whining about. It's like that's all upgradable. Most of the stuff that people don't like, it's an RPG. You're supposed to unlock and craft and improve.
Same thing with the Division, even the Crew. Like, people were playing the Crew. I know it wasn't real popular, but I remember when I first played the Crew when it launched, and people were like, the driving is terrible. Because it's an RPG, you idiot. Like, they purposely have you driving terrible because they want you
Forza,
to upgrade.
right? It's not supposed to start really amazing.
Yes, you're like literally supposed to upgrade your cars. It's an RPG. And they're like, the driving's so terrible. I'm like, oh my God, these guys they get paid to review these games.
It's like starting an RPG and getting mad that all you have is a basic attack. And you're like, well, you're supposed to learn magic and stuff as you go. Like, what is...
Yeah.
Anyway. All right.
They just want everything unlocked up front. But anyways, what I'm trying to say...
Maybe we're both wrong, but we both like Anthem. Is that fair?
I do. I like Anthem. I just don't know if I'm going to like it as much as, say, a Destiny. And I really want to, because BioWare is still my favorite developer. And I'm gonna hope that it'll get better for me, or I'll get more hooked. But right now, I like it, but I'll play it for and this could just be because I just don't game a lot still. I'll play it for an hour or so, and then I'm like, okay, we'll do something else. I'm not in the mood for this.
For me, the reason I don't play it for a ton of time is the same thing. A few weeks back when we had Daniel on, we were sharing some of our pieces of advice. Fathers know best. And mine was try not to play games that you can't pause. Well, here's a game that you cannot pause. And so it's hard for me to find windows of time when I truly know I'm not going to get interrupted, at least for the length of a mission here. So that's why I've been playing other stuff and here's my transition, Madden, because I got EA access for this month to try out Anthem early. I went ahead and downloaded Madden 19 since it was on there. Why not? And I'm also a little bit in a football mood now that football season's over and I'm feeling bummed out on Sundays and those Saturdays with no football around.
Yeah.
So I fired up Madden and I played through Long Shot, which is their little story mode that they have. I think it continues from previous Madden. So I didn't know everything that was going on, but I picked up on it.
Just the previous one. So it started in 2018 and then...
But I got the gist, of this show, the kind of a reality show, Long Shot, that gives these guys a shot at the NFL, and one of the buddies makes it, and one of them didn't, but is still holding out hope for a spot. That's kind of where this story picks up. And it's kind of like watching, I would say, 2 or 3 episodes of a Friday Night Lights type show. It really does have that vibe to it. The graphics aren't quite where they need to be for it to... I mean, sometimes it's laughable, like the faces don't look quite right. And they sometimes mix in some... real life actors or sports figures or whatever talking. And I kind of wish they would have just shot all the cutscenes with real people and just shot it like a TV show and then cut to you playing on the football field, because the cutscenes with their character models kind of looks funny, but whatever. It's just not quite there yet. That's all I'm trying to say. But all that to say, they throw you into the different scenarios in the game. Like, hey, he's reminiscing about winning the state championship. Then it throws you into the state championship game, and you're on the final drive. And so it sets you up with these scenarios. I found it to be overall pretty fun. 2-3 hours didn't take very long to get through this little story mode, but I thought it was pretty fun. I've never played one of the EA Sports stories before, and I enjoyed it. And then what you can do when it's over. Of these 2 characters, they each have 2 different paths that they go down. And one of them, it says, you want to continue this story, it takes you to Madden Ultimate Team, because the idea there is you're building up a team. Yeah. And then the other one is, hey, if you want to continue his story, go to franchise, and you can continue to control him as he finishes out his rookie season and then jump into his sophomore season and that kind of stuff. So they let you continue, even though the story, quote unquote, story part's over, you can continue to control those characters in their respective positions as they move forward. So anyway, Madden 19, surprisingly fun. Not a game that I ever plan on buying until it's college football. Then I'll buy that. But
I was actually just thinking about that yesterday, I think, while I was watching college basketball. And I was like, oh, man, I'd love to have a college basketball game. And then I started thinking about NCAA football. And I'm like, why don't they just bring, I think it was NCAA 16. Why don't they just bring that back, bring it to backwards compatibility?
That was 14. 14 was the last one.
Okay.
It had your boy Denard Robinson on the cover. Yep.
So why not bring it to the Xbox One, and then for the One X, do a enhanced version, which is 4K?
Yeah. I would love it if
that would feel, for me, like a new college football game.
Yeah. And then, again, you can just, all these user-generated rosters, people will update them for you with the players and stats. And even if they're not totally accurate, at least you've got, for the most part, updated rosters every year. But I think that's why they aren't doing it. It's because the whole contention with NCAA is don't use our likenesses in this game without compensating us. And so if they brought NCAA over, that's exactly what they'd be doing. And then they have to compensate them. But Yep,
whatever.
that would be nice. That'd be nice, but they're not going to do that.
They're not gonna touch
Also
that.
played a little bit of the Trials Rising beta. By the time you hear this, the beta will be, I think it'll be over. So if you listen to this on Monday, it ends on Monday. Anyway, if you like the Trials motorcycle kind of physics-based arcadey style, but also really tough games, you'll like this too. It's very goofy. You can do all kinds of taunts and stuff that are really silly and fun. The levels are very creative. You can get it for $25 on Switch, Xbox, or PS4 or PC, or $40 nets you the I think all the upcoming expansion stuff too. So anyway,
I liked like the original one. I think I bought the second one, but after that I was like, I'm done with this.
yeah, they've gone really crazy. And what I like about it the most, what gives it a lot of ongoing appeal, is not only the stuff they roll out, because they'll have free content and they will have paid DLC as well. But also there's a ton of user-generated courses, and then you can just play them by highest ranked and stuff like that. So you can pretty much always play a new course when you fire up that game. So it's pretty cool, the stuff that they've done with the Trials series. I'm just glad it's on Switch, because that's a great game to play on the couch while something else is happening on the big TV. So anyway, I know you disagree.
Stupid Switch.
Yeah, man.
You gonna buy Mortal Kombat 11 on the Switch?
Nope.
Wuss.
Why would I buy a game I'm not going to play? Hey, tell me a little bit more about Apex Legends. You've been playing that for a few weeks now. Is it holding up? Is it still?
I love it.
Okay.
It's just a fun game. I mean, it's kind of what I'm into now. Probably explains why out of all the games that came out, Anthem was my favorite, because it's just one of those games you just jump in, play until you're not in the mood to play anymore, and you can jump out. I don't feel like this pressure to beat the game or anything like that. So yeah, Apex is just a fun game. I think the last time I played it though was early last week. I was playing with Sasan and his wife, and that was special.
Yeah, it's an interesting threesome there.
Very interesting.
By the way, if you guys like first-person shooters and or Fortnite or both of those things, you should totally give Apex Legends a shot. They are starting their first official season in March, so this is think of it now as kind of like exhibition season. Just jump in and play, get used to the game. But they're going to start adding a whole bunch of layers of the different rankings and stuff like that here this coming month. And I think they just rolled out a new gun in their latest update.
See, I really like the game like a lot, but it is it's getting into that. Now it's been out too long. Everybody's amazing except you.
Yeah.
And so you never get kills because you're just like, everybody's way better than you.
I've played 4 rounds of it and I've gotten 0 kills, but I've been like, oh, it kind of plays pretty well.
It does. It plays really good, and it's a fun game.
The only reason I know it plays well and shoots well is because of the tutorial section. I've never shot another player in that game. So,
I mean, I got some kills, but I'm definitely not great at that game. Because I'm usually the type that will use my teammates, not as shield, but I'll kind of follow. I don't just run out and open myself up. I try to wait and see, but everything's so fast paced. You'll be like your teammate will be getting shot and you're not that far away and you're like, where are they? And by the time you get to where they're telling you they are, they're really behind you and you're dead. And I'm like, thanks.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Well, that is one battle royale game that I'm not very good at, although I will admit it is high quality. One that I am good at though is Tetris 99, which is free for Nintendo online subscribers.
It's like the old man version of battle royale.
Yeah, basically. But it gets pretty tough depending on who you're matched up with. I would say even time of day that you're playing, that'll tell you which time zone in the world you're matching up against, and that can make it tougher as well. But if the circumstances fall your way, you might do pretty well. I've finished first, I think 7 times now. So to me, it's one of those things that we've been playing Tetris in our family since back in the Game Boy green and gray screen days, you know what I mean? So a long time ago. So we love Tetris, and I think Tetris 99 is fantastic and totally worth your time. Yeah,
I played it once. I mean, it was free. I just wanted to check it out. I was like,
that's exactly it. It's free. I mean, because I love Tetris so much, I probably would have paid $5, maybe $10 for this. But I love that it's just free. Everyone can jump in and play. It literally is just one game mode. I wouldn't be surprised if they did this with other Nintendo games in the future, like maybe an Excite Bike battle royale of some kind in the future, Dr. Mario, Marble Madness. I could see them doing with other old school, very simple game concepts. But
I think they'll probably, since this is turning out to be kind of a hit, they'll probably add like some paid, some type of paid service for it,
Right?
Maybe to add on to something. I don't
Yep.
know how you could do it with Tetris, but whatever.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if they did that either. Another thing that I tried out this past week was the Yoshi's Crafted World demo, which is a really adorable little game coming to the Switch at the end of March. Not much else to say about it outside of it. It's really, really pretty. Like the art style is really pretty. If you've played the other Yoshi and Kirby, what was the Kirby Yarn one, I think?
Mm-hmm.
They just have really cool art styles. And when they double down on a specific art style, it can be really neat. So very family friendly, very kid friendly. Okay, this is not.
Are you going to buy it?
I think I will. My kids all love it. They've all played the demo and they love it.
What's it called?
The Yoshi's Crafted World. Yoshi's Crafted World. Art style is really adorable, and as far as I can tell, it's not going to be a super challenging game, but it is very, very charming. The whole thing looks like, if you ever had one of those like shoebox scenery things that you made when you were in elementary school or something, where you have these little pop-up pieces. It looks like that, and then it's got a little bit of a depth of field to it when you're throwing the eggs and navigating around. So anyway, charming little game. I recommend the demo at least for folks to try it out. That should drop next month. So yeah, that's what we've been playing. It's interesting that I played Madden 19. I wouldn't have if it weren't for EA Access, but it is giving me my football fix while football is currently off.
Yeah, I think I've been kind of in the mood for sports games as well. I actually they had like some All-Star Special Edition of NBA Live 19. It was $6, so it came with the game and then like some packs that you can open that come with like legend players and whatever.
Yeah.
So I bought it and I started playing it today. It's good. It plays good, and the packs you get, like I unlocked Joel Embiid, Magic Johnson, and a couple other players. But the reason I think this is cool is because I thought the packs were for like if you want to do like their like. You know how FIFA and all of them do their like little franchise team things where you build your own teams. This is actually, from what I can tell, the first few games I played, I'm doing my player. So I create my player, and then it's doing like the story of how my player is going to become this great NBA legend or whatever, and street ball legend. But these players, Joel Embiid, all of them can be on my team.
Oh,
now.
Nice. That's cool.
Well, like when I'm doing like a 3v3 up to 21, they'll give me 2 random players, and I can swap them out for the guys I unlock. So I have like Magic Johnson and Joel and all that stuff, and I'm like, well, no, not only am I amazing, but my 2 teammates are way better than who I'm playing right now. So I'm blowing everybody out.
On PC, is that where you got that?
No, I just put it on Xbox.
Oh, okay.
I don't even think NBA Live's on PC. I don't think so.
Oh,
maybe like one of them was, but I don't think they release it consistently on there. Gotcha. Madden is, I know, and FIFA, but I don't think NBA Live.
Nintendo and EA put a football game on the Switch. I will play that. Yeah, I'll play that. All right. So here's something I wanted to ask you and have us. It doesn't have to be a ranking or anything, but I was looking at all the controllers on our entertainment unit recently. We've got Xbox and PS4. We've even got old Wii controllers tucked underneath, with the Switch Pro controllers and the Joy-Cons. And I'm looking at all these different controllers, and just made me realize, there's so many different styles and button layouts and things like that. Now, you can make an argument that some of them, the 3 main ones, the Nintendo Pro controller, the Xbox One, and the PlayStation's DualShock controller, are all roughly similar in their button layouts, and even though they're called different things and might be formed a little differently, they feel roughly the same. Mm-hmm. And that's kind of true, but they each do have their own their own pluses and minuses. And so while I do love the Switch Pro controller, I don't like it as much as the other 2 current console controllers. So that got me thinking, what are some of my favorites from back in the day? And as I'm thinking about it, before I talk about the ones I liked the most, I wanted to real quick mention some of the ones I liked the least. One of the ones that looking back on and then reusing it in more modern day, I think like 3 years ago, I tried it out again. Back in the day, I didn't mind it because that's where I could play some of my favorite games. But now I think the N64 controller is one of the worst.
Oh, yeah.
I think it's one of the worst.
I don't even think I liked it back then.
I did because it worked for certain games. I remember playing a lot of like WCW versus NWO, like those wrestling games, or the WWF wrestling games, and it worked great for those. It worked great for GoldenEye, for some of that, and the analog stick using on 3D platformers like Mario 64. It worked great, but overall, looking back on it now, trying to go back and use it, it does not stand the test of time. I think it worked then for those games. Doesn't stand the test of time. So there's one that I dislike. Are there any that you would say, yeah, I hate this controller? Before we
never liked. Well, I won't say I hate it, but I never liked the GameCube controller. Everybody loved it, and I never liked it.
I think people who are big into Smash and competitive Smash love it because I guess the button layout helps them in some way, shape, or form. I hate the button layout on the GameCube controller. It's not intuitive. The buttons are shaped weird, and they're all different sizes. I'm not a fan, personally. I didn't like the click on the shoulder buttons either. There's like a clicking mechanism on the shoulder buttons. I didn't like it. So, no, I'm with you there. All right, but some of the ones that we loved. So for me, my top two, and it's really close, but my number one's going to have to be the current Xbox One controller. I think it is basically a perfect controller. It's the perfect size. All the buttons feel just right when you hit them. The only thing it's lacking, and one of our group members, I think James, brought this up today or yesterday, is an instant image capture. The way you capture images on Xbox is real clunky. So that is one thing lacking for sure. But otherwise, as far as gameplay goes, as far as whether you're playing shooters or like something like Kingdom Hearts, whatever you're playing, I feel like that controller works really well for just about every game. And it's currently my favorite one.
So you're saying like you don't like the fact that there isn't like a actual button that takes a picture?
Or at least, yeah, I'm not sure exactly. Do I want an extra button? I'm not sure. But for example,
to me, as far as timing goes,
yeah,
like you just double click the Xbox button, whereas PlayStation you click one button on the left hand side. I forgot what it's called, the share button.
It's a little capture or share,
but they both take about the same amount of time to load. Like it takes time.
Yep.
To actually like.
The only one that does it really well, Derek, is the Nintendo Switch. For those of you who can't see this, he gave me a very sarcastic thumbs up right in the camera.
See, I switched it where you're the main person on my camera because I normally do have me, but not just because I'm a narcissist, but I have to track my lighting and make sure I look okay. Okay.
But also because of the narcissist thing, also.
But now I'm like, I can't see me at all. There we go.
Yeah, I think it only applies to a few games. Most games that are really pretty and modern games have some kind of photo mode. So it's not usually a big deal. Actually, you know what? It's never a big deal. It's more of like an inconvenience that a lot of times I can't grab the picture that I want. But anyway, other than that, I think it's near perfect when it comes to the gameplay experience of it. I really, really like it.
I agree. I put that as number one.
Now, is this the Elite or the Standard? Because mine's just the Standard.
Well, I like the Elite, but the Elite honestly feels just like a standard Xbox One controller. The only difference is the paddles and stuff like that, and that's what sets it apart for a lot of gamers. I guess you could say the quality's better, but I really felt like the quality was the same. I actually just bought yesterday at the GameStop Pro Day. I ordered it online, but I was talking to one of the kids that I used to be the youth pastor over at my old church, and he was talking about getting like this Wolverine like Pro controller or whatever. And I was like, oh, let me look at it. And so it's basically an Xbox Elite controller made by Razer. It's just wired because, you know, anytime it's a third party, they're not allowed to do like a wireless to compete with Microsoft. So they made it wired, but it's normally like a $120 controller, and it was $60 yesterday. And I watched some reviews, and I don't have a problem with wired. Like, people are like, why would you buy a wired controller? Because I need a wired controller. I use it for my PC, and no, I do not want the USB. I have that. It doesn't work. Plus, here's the main reason why I do wired for those who don't understand how this works. I don't like buying batteries, and I don't like buying rechargeable bull crap either. I'd rather just plug it in. You see where I'm sitting.
Yeah.
I'm 2 inches from my PC.
Yeah.
I'd rather just plug it in. On my Xbox over there, sometimes I play Xbox over here, but if I'm playing over there, I usually sit in the chair probably about 10 feet away. Wired controller's perfect. I don't have to worry about the controller dying or anything because it's always plugged in.
Huh.
So anyways, long story short, what I think is going to be a really good deal on like a top of the line Xbox controller. And like I said, the only bad thing about it for some people is that it's wired. I don't care.
Yeah.
It's got all the extra. This is actually pretty cool over the Elite. Elite, you have to put the paddles in. This already has like the triggers on the back, so it's got a bunch of extra buttons. Looks like it's high quality, but yeah, the Xbox One regular controller is fine. It feels good. The buttons feel good. The layout, everything feels good. I like
all my consoles are above my TV. I have to keep them up high. We have an entertainment unit that goes up and around the TV, so I've got to have wireless, and I have to leave them up there for now until all of our kids get older and are more.
No, that makes sense. For me, wired is the way to go, and also Eli breaks all my wireless controllers. Like I have 4 Xbox One controllers, and only one of them works right. All my wireless are broke. He broke my Gears of War one. He broke a couple of his, and then he broke.
How did he break these? I need to hear this.
Well, with the Gears of War one, it like if you plug it in, it works, but the stick, the left stick, like automatically goes up. So you're trying to control it, but like I was trying to play Borderlands, and it just kept going like this.
I wonder if did he throw it? Did he drop it?
Probably. Yeah. I'm not around always when he's playing, so he'll break them and then he'll switch it out, and he won't tell me. And so then I'll try to play it. And I'm like, what the heck? Why is this broke? Oh, I didn't do it, Dad. I'm like, yep, it was you. You little chunk thump, bro.
Or he just stepped on it. Who knows? That could happen too. Our kids we keep the Xbox 360 down in the kind of main kids playroom in the basement, and 2 out of those we now own 5 because we had to replace one, and now another one broke. And I haven't replaced that one yet. We have 3 functioning out of 5. They're sitting down there. So I hear you. Kids will ruin just about everything. What's another one that you love? Another controller?
Actually, when the generation started, DualShock 4 was my favorite. So it wasn't until they updated the Xbox One that I put it ahead. Plus, I just started gaming more on the One X. So I think that, for me, is always a big thing. I think both those controllers are really good. I like both of them. They're almost pretty much equal to me. It's just whatever system I'm playing on the most. And in the early stages of the generation, probably the first 3 years, I was playing on the PS4 a ton. And since the One X came out, I've pretty much done all my console gaming on the Xbox. I rarely use my PS4 unless it's an exclusive.
Yep.
So, but
my PS4 has not gotten a lot of activity recently.
No, but I do like the DualShock 4. I think it feels good. It's definitely Sony's best controller ever. I never liked DualShock 3. It was trash. I never liked any of their older ones either. They always felt like garbage. But this is definitely their best controller. It has flaws, like it dies too fast.
Yeah, the battery life isn't great.
Battery life is god awful terrible.
Yeah. And then, but to their credit, they're all rechargeable. Whereas with Xbox, you have to buy a recharge pack or a special kind of controller.
That really annoys me. Yeah. It really annoys me that they charge $60 and it comes with 2 crappy batteries. Like, just give me a charge pack.
Yep.
Like, it should be built in. Like, don't give me one. It should be built in like PlayStation.
Right. I agree with that. Well, it is built in PlayStation, but not with the Xbox. So DualShock 4 is my second favorite as well. It's really close. It's almost a tie, really. I love the DualShock 4. I actually really like the touchpad right in the middle. Yep. Some games use it in some annoying and kind of like chintzy ways, but for the most part, it's used in a smart way. It could be to bring up a map, or to maybe that's how you take a picture, or go into photo mode. Sometimes, like on The Witcher, if you slide it a certain direction, it'll open up a certain menu. You know, with a game that complex, you might want to jump directly to one of your menus, and they use a touchpad for that in some smart ways. So I really like the touchpad a lot. It does overall feel a little bit cheaper, and specifically for shooters, I've found myself really any game with any kind of shooting, I prefer the Xbox triggers. I just think they feel much better for shooting games compared to the PS4. But otherwise, I really do like it a lot. It's a great one.
Yep.
And it looks like at least for my third one, I imagine for yours too. For my third one, it's all about nostalgia. And I think it's just because it's the one I probably use the most. growing up, and that was a Super Nintendo controller. I loved it, and that was the first time I'd experienced shoulder buttons. The L and the R button were brand new concepts, at least for me. I think they were the first ones to do it.
Mm-hmm.
But I loved it. I loved it for whether it was Street Fighter 2 or playing Mario or any kind of RPG. I loved the Super Nintendo controller. I thought it was just the right size, had all these button options. It was such an upgrade from the NES, which had start, select, an AB, and a D-pad. And all of a sudden, Super Nintendo, you had the D-pad, start, select, A, B, X, Y, L, R. Now you had all these button combos and things you could do. So it was really, really a cool controller that a lot of other systems then took those pieces and added to them. So that was my favorite. What was another one of yours that you liked besides the two newest ones?
I really like the Dreamcast controller as well, so I just want to mention that. But
I hated that one.
I actually liked it. It
was like box shaped. It was like whatever.
It's kind of like an Xbox. But the one I'm gonna pick is one that's widely hated by people, and that is the original Xbox controller. I owned. I can't remember which one I got first. I think I got a PS2 before I got an Xbox. But when I got the Xbox, the original Xbox, I remember thinking, man, this is huge. And then as you keep playing it, it was actually ended up becoming my favorite controller. Like I couldn't stand playing with any other system. Like I think at the time the PS2 and the GameCube.
PS2, yeah.
And those controllers became annoying to me compared to the original Xbox. So
it was better than GameCube, I'll give you that.
Yeah.
I know there's people listening that are going to be mad at us because they think the GameCube is the best. Go back and try a GameCube controller. And if you truly still love it, more power to you. But I think more often than not, folks are going to say, yeah, this isn't all that great. So it's better than GameCube, but I still like the PS2 controller a little bit better than the original Xbox. But I don't hate it. I know, a lot of people do hate it, but I do prefer I guess that was the DualShock 2, I imagine, for PS2. So, all right, well, there you go. There's some of our favorite controllers of all time. What about you guys? What are some of your favorites? Let us know. But we're done talking about those and about stuff we're playing. We've got a few things to cover in the news.
Okay, that was terrible.
Thank you.
In the news.
All right, how about you do it? Go ahead.
No, I'm not doing it. I felt like you were trying to be like Greg Miller. Like, what did he used to do? Like, he always had some stupid thing whenever he wanted to transition.
Oh, they had I don't know about the transition. Oh, the Greg ways.
Yeah, Greg Miller, you're an idiot.
Yeah,
nobody likes you, bro.
I haven't listened to them since Colin was on there.
Yeah, I actually haven't listened to Colin in forever either.
Yeah, I haven't either. I stopped listening to them altogether when they both kind of went crazy. All right. Well, anyway, for real though, there are some big news things. The first one being, Derek, you and I need to have a moment of silence for Reggie Fils-Aimé from Nintendo has announced his retirement. Moment of silence.
So is his body ready?
Oh my gosh. I said moment of silence. You are the worst.
But is his body ready?
His body is very ready. He seems very excited to kind of just be done and relax. I imagine he's got a nice big nest egg of money to relax with. He never looked that old to me, but maybe he's close to 60. I don't know. But he always had a weird, I couldn't tell. He always looked so like waxy and robotic. So I'm not sure how old Reggie is. I don't know.
I bet you he's probably approaching 70. I'll actually look.
You think he's in his 60s? I would say he's probably close to 60. I'd say he's like 58, if I had to guess. 55, 58, something like that.
I will look.
Yeah, find out. Reggie is...
he's 57.
57. All right. Yeah. But when you've got that much money and you've worked that hard for that long, you can retire a little bit early, I think.
I feel like he looks like a happy John Martin. There's like a picture of him on Wikipedia where he's like got this huge smile, and I'm like, oh, it's like a happy John Martin.
Yeah.
When John Martin has hair. When John Martin doesn't have hair.
Right. I mean, they're both white. It makes sense.
Yeah.
Totally. All right. But the big part of the news, other than that he's going to be done in April, which is it's an end of an era. He's been around for 15 plus years, and it's a big deal. He's been great for Nintendo, and I hope that his replacement does a better job. But the problem is his replacement's name is Doug Bowser. So that was bound to turn some heads, and there's been lots of corny jokes that have gone out there. So if you're into that, go check those out. But anyway, Doug Bowser, I think he was at EA for a while too. So he's got some experience in the industry. Actually kind of looks like he's also in his 50s. He might be in his 40s though. He's just bald, so it's hard to say. But there you go. Doug Bowser's taken over. So I'm hoping that the first major Nintendo, direct announcement stuff, I'm guessing for E3, with Doug Bowser in charge, I'm hoping that they up their game. He wants to hit things running. He wants to have a big splash as the new Prez. So I hope that he does some big stuff with Nintendo early on. We'll see. We will see. Quick note for those of you who are on Steam, they did remove the video and pretty much any non-gaming content. They're trying to focus in on gaming. I do remember watching I think it was like the video game documentary or something like that on Steam back in the day. They had some movies and some video stuff. They're trying to trim that down. So that was an announcement that Valve made recently. Another quick announcement from Game Freak. Those of you who might recognize that developer name, they're the ones who usually make Pokemon games. That's what they're most widely known for. They have a game they made on PC a while back called Giga Wrecker, and it's a Metroidvania kind of platforming style game released a couple years back. It's now coming to all consoles, and it's going to be called Giga Wrecker Alt. Has a cool art style to it, side-scrolling Metroidvania, if that's your thing. So those are some of the smaller news items. I guess Reggie's a pretty big news item, but those other two were small. But here's a huge one. Speaking of industry changing, I think Reggie and his shift out of Nintendo, it could be industry changing. We'll see what happens with Nintendo next. But this next one could be massive for the industry. If any of this comes true, this is going to be huge. According to Direct Feed Games, and I think this was via Game Informer, Microsoft and Nintendo are working on a plan to bring Ori and the Blind Forest, maybe Cuphead, and other previously exclusive, at least console exclusive, Microsoft games to the Switch. And talks are that they're going to possibly deliver these games via download, also via Game Pass subscription, with over 100 other games via Game Pass subscription to the Switch, which would be you subscribe to Microsoft's Game Pass, you download that app on your Switch, and in that app you can then download games to your Switch that Microsoft has put on their service. And that in and of itself is mind-blowing. But here's another thing that they announced. Additionally, or I shouldn't say announced, this is all part of this rumor, but it seems to be coming from some pretty credible sources. It's being reported on across every outlet you can find. So it's a pretty big bombshell of a rumor. There are talks that they're going to try to deliver. I'm sorry, that was the Game Pass part. They're also working. We've known that Xbox is working on a streaming platform. Phil Spencer's talked about this. He likes the idea of bringing Xbox to everyone, everywhere, on every device. And they've called this thing Project xCloud. And the idea is you can stream Xbox games on any device. You don't need to have a console powerful enough to play it. You just need to have a strong internet connection, and you can stream it. The same thing you would do for Netflix. And they're saying Switch potentially would be able to stream games that it would never be able to handle natively on its own, but now via some xCloud service that Microsoft is working on and talking with Nintendo about partnering on, you could potentially play games that are usually only for the two major consoles and PC gamers now could potentially be on your Switch if you have a Wi-Fi connection. I think that's crazy. Like, to me, this feels like a major shift if this goes forward. So I'm going to ask you that. Do you think that would really change the way that this next gen of games and consoles looks if they do this?
I think it's huge. I just think, here's my thing. Like, unless Nintendo and Microsoft are teaming up because they just truly hate Sony, and they figure if we come together, we can destroy them. I really don't understand why Microsoft's future, especially with this cloud and stuff, is why not create your own handheld device or even phone or something where you can then use the power of the cloud to play their games on the go.
Yeah.
Or Game Pass on the go.
Yeah.
Like, why use Nintendo?
I think that's a valid question, but my instant kind of my gut response to that is Nintendo has access to an audience that Microsoft has kind of realized they're never going to have access to, particularly the Asian audience, right? Over in Japan, they aren't really Xbox folks, so they're going to get a huge international audience that they don't normally get. I think that's big right there. Mm-hmm. But also, even in the States, I think there's a huge audience for Nintendo hardware that Xbox does not currently have access to, because their game console has a certain their hardware has always had a certain vibe to it that if you're not really into Xbox or Microsoft, you might never give them a look. But with Nintendo, potentially, just like having your stuff on an Apple device, an iPad or on a phone, you're gonna have access to an audience you normally don't get access to. So I can absolutely see why this could benefit them. And think about it for Microsoft too. It's only going to make them more money. I mean, they are going to sell so many subscriptions through whatever services they provide on these other platforms. I think they're going to make so much more money because there's really nothing when it comes to development costs for these. You're already creating these games for your consoles, and now you're getting probably millions of additional subscriptions, at least
there's
hundreds of thousands.
Risk involved.
Oh, it's all for money. And I think the hardware business must be tougher and tougher to make money in these days because devices are becoming so powerful. Your handheld devices and tablets are becoming so strong. You can have full-on, real deep gaming experiences, and they're only going to get better. And I think Microsoft is probably trying to jump the gun on saying, we are going to be a platform that whatever device you like, whether you like the one we make, because I do think that Microsoft will make more consoles. I do, at least one more, if not multiple more generations of consoles. But I think so they're going to say ours is the best hardware. Come here for the true 4K experience. But by the way, you can also play our games on any device that you prefer, and just have to have a subscription. So I think they're going to continue to make money that way. But they might limit some of them. They might say this is only going to be on Xbox, but these other ones just subscribe to our service and you can play our games anywhere. And I think for some folks, they kind of scoff at that and say, well, what games does Microsoft have that, other systems don't have? This is hilarious. But if you're a Nintendo Switch owner, in my mind, I'm thinking now I've got access to this full library of modern current day games that I never thought I'd be able to play on my Nintendo console. I'm totally going to subscribe to Microsoft. I think they're going to make so much money doing this personally. And for Nintendo, of course, it's just more games for our system. Cool. Get more people to buy it. They're still all about selling that hardware, Yeah. So I think it's a win-win for those two. I think
it will happen, to be honest with you.
I do think it's going to happen. At the very least, I think we will see in the very near future, we'll see Ori and Cuphead and some games like that, maybe even Ashen coming to the Switch. I wouldn't necessarily expect to see big stuff like Halo and Gears anytime soon, but I wouldn't be surprised if there's some announcements that, hey, we're working on, some of our larger AAA IP to come over too. I just don't think that's going to happen soon. I do think the smaller stuff, though, I could see that happening pretty quick.
I would think this is probably going to be something that's going to be announced at E3 or something like that.
And they might even release the first one at E3, right? Like, what if they said Ori and the Blind Forest is now available, on the Switch?
And the Whispers one will be out this fall, and you can play it on your Xbox, PC, or Switch.
Yep. It's funny. There's been these little hints that Microsoft and Nintendo are playing nice. And of course, it's always easy to joke about, like, hey, Sony's so far ahead. Why do they care, right? And that's one of the questions I had for you too. Like, will Sony even care about this? Does this make you nervous if you're a Sony executive? Are you just so far ahead that you don't care? Are you now nervous about the next gen? What do you start to think if you're Sony, who, by the way, you saw your hardware sales fall behind Nintendo last year?
Yeah.
And this is only going to boost Nintendo sales if it happens. So what do you start to think if you're Sony, So I do start to
if I'm Sony, I got to start thinking with the success of the Switch, and this is where I was going with Microsoft. If you're going to make another console, why wouldn't you make it really powerful but still have some type of handheld portion of it?
Like, at least stream to this, like, take this on the go and you can stream from your home console or something.
There has to be something in the works. Yeah. I just don't see these two big companies going, well, Nintendo has the handheld. Like, Sony has always wanted to have something portable. And I'm not just talking about the Vita and stuff like that. They also tried to do mobile phones. Like, they've tried and failed.
Oh, by the way, Vita just got announced they're stopping manufacturing the Vita. So pour one out for the Vita.
I think they will. I think they will stay in the handheld business. I think they're just gonna do what Nintendo did, and but it'll be the reverse. Meaning, like, Nintendo released a home console, but it is more of a handheld, just a really powerful handheld that has the ability to be a home console.
Yep, I think it's 90% of the time a handheld for me these days. Yep.
I think Sony and Microsoft will be. We're still mainly a home console, but you have the ability to either, like you said, either you can take this system apart and take it with you, or they'll have it where it's some type of app or something you can put on your phone or something. I don't know. They'll have something.
Yeah.
So do I think Sony's worried? No. I think they're just watching and going, okay, well, this is what we got to do.
Yeah, I think they're in a wait and see mode. I do think there's got to be at least a handful of them, though, in those high offices up in Sony's main headquarters that are thinking, now what do we do? There's got to be some. So you're right. They could. I'm sure that they've got some R&D work going on handheld. That doesn't mean they're ever going to release another one, but I'm sure they're working on what could we do. I don't think we need to
ask like Sony execs. I think we need to ask AOC. Like, I feel like she.
Oh, good. Let's go this direction tonight.
We need to ask her because I feel like she would know. Yeah. Like what Sony needs to do. Like they should probably just give up and give the American people all their.
What Sony should do is they should give, let's just say 70% of their exclusives to Microsoft and Nintendo, because it's only fair. They've got so much more than these other two companies.
True.
They should start handing it out. Equality across the board.
AOC for Prez.
#AOC. All right, so there's the big news for you. We'll, of course, talk more about this if it continues to develop, especially if it becomes official. Nothing sounds official yet, but to me, it sounds like it's going to happen. So I'm pretty excited for whatever that ends up looking like. I think we're on the verge of some major shifts in the industry. But Derek, it's getting late for you. It's getting close to midnight, so I want to wrap this up. Let's close it up with what to buy this week. Options are way more limited than they were previously. But here's some things coming out over this coming week. Trials Rising, I already mentioned, comes out on February 26th. You can get it for $25, or maybe those are sale, I don't know. Or $40 if you want the full expansion experience as it rolls out throughout the year. Lego Movie 2 video game comes out. If you like the Lego movies, I'm sure it's not going to, or the Lego games, I'm sure it's not going to be much different than the other Lego games. Dirt Rally 2.0 if you need some racing. Dead or Alive 6 if you need some scantily clad women fighting each other.
I do.
And March 1st, if you need to jump back into some retro gaming, you can play Toe Jam and Earl Back in the Groove. Again, I'm not sure why anyone's making this game. Who needs this game? I don't know what this is, but
you like it.
I don't. I really don't. But it's coming to all systems, so there you go. Toe Jam and Earl. And don't forget, although the Division 2 doesn't come out until March 15th, right? I think it's 15th. They do have an open beta this coming weekend. I do believe it's available to anybody, hence the word open. So go give it a shot. You've got all weekend. It starts on March 1st and runs through the 4th, and you can go give the Division 2 a whirl and see if it's something that you're interested in for the month of March. We do have more games coming out in March to talk about, but it is a somewhat quiet week. So if I had to pick one thing for you to buy, I'd say play the Division 2 open beta for free. Do that instead.
I would say Dead or Alive 6 is probably the thing I'm most interested in, but I wouldn't pay like full price for it or anything. It would be like a budget game.
That'll go on sale. Those kind of games go on sale fairly quickly, so you'll see a sale.
And I'm just not into fighters like I used to. Dirt Rally 2.0 did review very well, but the dirt games always do.
Yeah, Dirt Rally looks fun, especially if you're into racing games, of course, and off-road racing style. Give that one a go. And I've already talked about Trials. I like it. It's not for everybody, but also a game that will be on sale in the future. So you don't have to buy Trials this week. You could wait for it to drop in price. All right, well, that does it for us this week. Derek, thanks for staying up a little extra late. I appreciate it. How are you looking tonight? You like the way you're looking tonight?
Yeah, not too bad.
Okay.
Better than you, but that's the norm.
That goes without saying.
But I said it.
But you said it. Next time, tell me when you're just like Superman or Spider-Man. I've got a Superman shirt I could wear. And then we can be truly gay together.
Yeah, let's just plan it for next week.
Yeah, sounds good. How often do you wear this outfit, by the way?
Almost every night.
Cool. All right, that's it. See you guys.
Who is your daddy? I am the father.
You fathers will understand.
My father taught me many things.
I got an idea. How about you all sit there quietly while I make dad noises?